Speedway Report is a production of ZTV. Well, the roar before the 24 kicks off Rolex week. That's a lot of R's in that sentence. Kyle Larson keeps upping his worth before we head into the NASCAR season. And the modifieds look to be flocking to New Smyrna by the gross. Wow, all this and more coming up. Welcome to Speedway Report. It is Monday, January 25th, 2021. From the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina, I'm Patrick Reynolds. Thanks for joining the fastest half hour in racing. Yes, January 25th, only 11 more months until Christmas. Got your shopping done yet? Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? I've got all the questions for you tonight to ponder the meaning of the universe. Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. Just give us a search on YouTube. Subscribe. You never have to look. We come to you. Just like the mailman. Enjoy Speedway Report every week. We've got the Victory Lane Lap this week. We begin with IMSA and the roar before the 24. You know what you're saying to yourself. You're saying, self, how does that result in a Victory Lane Lap? Well, new this year was the Motul Pole Award 100. Instead of qualifying like we normally do during road racing, oval track racing, what have you, which takes place later this week, traditionally later this week they put it as part of the Roar, which was this weekend, which is part of Rolex week. We're going to get to all this shortly. Big change in the IMSA schedule. They had a 100-minute race to determine the starting grid for the 24 hours of Daytona. That's right. They raced 100 minutes so that they could race 24 hours and figure out which way they started. Little wear and tear on the equipment there, boys. Anyway, Whelen Engineering's Cadillac with Pipo Derani and Philippe Nasser was your winner of the race. They will start from the point this Saturday when the green flag waves down in Daytona for the twice round-the-clock classic. Derani and Nasser will be joined by Mike Conway and Chase Elliott as co-drivers for this weekend's Rolex 24. 49 entrants, which is up, well, quite healthily from last year, will face the 24-hour race this weekend. In a much shorter distance, the Lucas Oil Late Models opened up their season in Lake City, Florida. Kyle Larson was the winner for his second ever late model race, and he did it in dominating fashion. 50-lap feature went green to checkered. He took the lead on lap 15 and then wound up winning by 15 seconds. Just took those boys to school down there. Well, speed weeks on the short tracks have begun down in Florida tonight. In Tampa at East Bay Raceway, the Lucas Oil late models are racing. It's about 7:30, just passed on the East Coast time, so I would say at the top of the hour, after you finish watching Speedway Report, if you're in the area, head on over to East Bay Raceway. I was there last year for a race, spent speed weeks down there, made it over to East Bay. Pretty cool little dirt track. Well, basically, I love anything where you turn left and right and go fast, so it's pretty cool stuff. Back to the sports cars. I want to talk about Kyle Larson a little bit more in a little while. New design this year, the Roar Before the 24 has always been a test for the Rolex 24 coming up. It was cool name, cool marketing, a cool weekend for the fans, for the racers. They get a pretty good test down there, and they get to work on the cars. But traditionally, it has been early part of January, several weeks before the race, or at least 2 anyway. They go, they test for a few days, and they bring everything back to the shop, go over it, and then bring the fast bullets, you know, the good stuff, down for the race. A few years ago, they had it on the week, or like basically the week, about 2 weekends before the Rolex 24. So they had a load up, leave Daytona, and they went back roughly later that week or about a week later for the race to unload for the race. This week, they're not going anywhere. The haulers went in there last week. They unloaded. They tested Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as well as had the qualifying race yesterday. They had a few other races over the weekend as well. as preliminary events. Now the garage is open today, tomorrow, Wednesday, before we get into go back into tech and practice for the official week of the race, Rolex 24. So this is new. We've got a sports car, roughly a 10-day trip down to Daytona as opposed to 2. Are we saving the team's money? Possibly. They got to go to Daytona once. The time down there is extended. However, the crew guys, let me speak on behalf of them, they're hating life right now. I'm telling you, they're hating life right now. The Rolex 24 is torturous on these guys. If you talk to so many folks that are insiders, this doesn't get out into public. But the press releases from the Roar I saw where the mechanics and the team members and the engineers get to parade around the garage, and they're all proud, the Cadillac guys, the Whelen guys, of how they won the race, the qualifying race, and they think it's a big deal all week. If you talk to insiders at the World of Outlaws or NASCAR or IndyCar racing, their biggest events are the biggest headaches for the team guys. Not from the fans, but for the team guys. I never worked the World of Outlaws sprint car team. They will tell me, the guys that I know, that Knoxville Nationals week is the most miserable week of the year. I've got a few IndyCar insiders, too, say they hate Indianapolis. As a former NASCAR guy myself, Speed Weeks made you hate January and February. They did. As a fan, these were the biggest races of the year. You couldn't wait for them to happen. The minute they were done, you would count them the minutes till next year's events. As a crew guy, you couldn't stand them. Rolex 24, I know guys in IMSA, they go say, oh, God, this is torturous. Now they're down there for a whole week. They flew down last week. They drove down last week. Then they had to even, not only did they do all their testing, they raced. They actually raced. I don't know how bright an idea that is. My goodness, you've already got a 24-hour race. Why do we got to put another hour and a half on these cars and these poor guys before the Rolex 24? They're hating life. You can read the press releases out of IMSA all you want, how wonderful this is, this great test, this great week. Now, from a fan perspective and a marketing perspective, you stretch out the Rolex 24 into a longer event. It might be okay. I don't know if it's saving the teams any money or costing them money. I would think the trip back and forth to Florida would save them money because they're only doing it once. I would think the overnight drives back and forth to the shop and the overnight shipping of all the parts that they need down in Daytona would make up for that. So it may be a wash. As far as cost saving goes, there probably is none. The crew guys, yeah, they're looking for a pillow, they're looking for a bed, they're looking to take a nap sometime, somehow, before this weekend's race. This is going to be rough on these poor guys, so I feel for them. Roar week, I don't know. Maybe in the comments here, you guys could throw your eyeballs on this, throw your comments in the section as to what you think as fans. Do you dig the Roar right before the Rolex 24? Stretch it into a week as opposed to 3 weeks apart. I don't know. You tell me what you think about that. Jump from really, really long racing to really, really short racing. Kyle Larson, ate him up last year in sprint car racing. Just totally won so many sprint car races. Now, he won last year in a late model in dominating fashion, and he certainly did the same over the weekend in Florida. Lucas Oil Late Models opened their season. That means short track speed weeks in Florida is underway. Kyle Larson has proven just when he left NASCAR how dominant of a driver he could be. We talked about this last year with all the races he won, just mowing them down in sprint car racing after he was suspended from NASCAR. He's ready to get back at it. He'll be in the number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports on the Cup side for this year. And I think, as my friend Wally Lowry noted on a Facebook post, a man on a mission. I think he's got something to prove. He's learned a lot. He's learned a lot about himself, about society, and gotten out of his sheltered life. He knew racing. He was well paid. He was a good dude. He is a good dude. However, this experience away from NASCAR and submerging into other areas of culture and social state here in the United States has opened his eyes. I kind of looking at Kyle Larson a little bit like when Kyle Busch left Hendrick or was booted out of Hendrick. Remember when Dale Jr. came in and Busch went to Joe Gibbs Racing. and I don't think his right foot has come off the floor yet. Won so many races, led so many laps. He was just a monster, a machine behind the wheel of that car. I am looking at Kyle Larson to lay down some kind of display similar to that this year. He's been away. He's got a lot to prove to himself. He doesn't really have a lot to prove to me or for many people, but I think he thinks that he's got a lot to prove to a bunch of people. I would not be a bit surprised to have Larson mowing him down this year in Cup like he did last year in the sprint cars. Kevin Harvick went on a tear, led a lot of laps, won so many races. I expect in there a lot of times Kyle Busch in the Joe Gibbs racing cars, he just was proving a point to the world that he belongs here and he's a winner. I think we're going to see that kind of performance out of Kyle Larson in 2021. Now, championship-wise for Larson, tough to say with this stupid playoff format they have. The best driver really doesn't win. Kind of a fallacy and a mess that they've made out of a title. I don't use Cup championships anymore as a measure of a championship caliber driver. That's tough to predict. Kyle Larson, however, I'm telling you, I'm expecting him to go on a tear and be up front and visit victory lane a whole lot in 2021. What do you guys think? I asked about the Roar in the comments. Let's see about Kyle Larson in the comments. A little off screen. I'm going to bend. I'm going to look. Jan's here. Ruth Ann is here. BP, Bill Pratt is here. Okay. Nobody's chimed in about the Roar yet. Nobody's given a thumbs up or thumbs down to Kyle Larson yet. That's cool. Maybe you can on a replay or as we go further along. Feel free. NHRA drag racing news. Oh my goodness, Ryan Tobler, crew chief for currently for Ron Capps with Don Schumacher Racing, finally calling it a career, and he's going to retire at the end of this month. So we've got about another week. He's done. Tobler's been around. Gosh, he's 66 years old. Basically been in the sport about 50 years. He's worked with Capps since 2012. They got 33 wins together. It was with Capps with that 60th Nitro Triumph in 2016. He began his career in 1971. I was a youngster then. Yep, got a lot of wins. He known for his championships in 1980 and 82 with Shirley Muldowney. Gosh, the sport will miss Tobler. Understood. It's time to take his foot off the throttle and cruise into retirement. Good for him. Tobler, one of the name icons of the sport, just as turning wrenches in NHRA. Let's talk a little bit about New Smyrna. I've got a lot of modified fans that tune into the show and catch it on the replay. My Roots, modified fans. We are up. I looked on New Smyrna's webpage today because I keep seeing posts on social media. This team, that team, that team. Getting ready to go, load up, lock and load for New Smyrna for Speed Weeks here in a few weeks. On the New Smyrna website this afternoon before we went live, I counted 40 tour modifieds on the entry list for New Smyrna. I can't remember the last time we had that many entered down there. What, in the 80s? Really? Seriously, when's the last time we had 40 tour mods show up at New Smyrna Speed Weeks? I mean, gosh, they used to have 3 or 4 heat races and time trials and all that, but I'm thinking, gosh, this was back in the days of George Kent and Richie Evans and Jerry Cook. And Gary Ballou would make a guest driving a modified. And Dick Trickle would, too. This is a long time ago. I think it's wonderful, but man, 42 are modifieds. And gosh, the purse isn't that great down there. I'm thinking what maybe COVID did in 2020 is just lean these modified guys right out. They're eager to race. They've got equipment. They want to get out of the cold and come down here to the sunshine. Good for them, but 40. I'm going to say it again, 40 tour modifieds coming in New Smyrna, or at least entered. I think that's fantastic that you would actually have meaningful consolation races. I don't know how they're going to do it, if they're going to do B-mains or whatever, but that's fantastic that 40 cars are entered in down there. I hope more do. I hope we get more. I hope we get meaningful heats, meaningful consolation races. I hate seeing guys not qualify for the feature, but I like the longevity of it. I like making that elite group in the feature race. you guys remember as much as I do the teen number of cars that we had down there when we had to combine tour cars and SK cars just to have a full-looking field of modifieds down there and have 2 winners of the races. And I'm talking 40 modifieds just as tour cars. That's what I see entered down there. I think it's fantastic. I love it. Guys coming from different, not just the modified tour, Bowman Gray guys here in the Carolinas, Race of Champions guys, Valenti guys. Great stuff. When we're running heats and meaningful consolations for the modifieds at New Smyrna, that's good times right there. I can't wait for that. Even the super late models, they had 25 entered. That's still really good. I've seen some lean fields over the years there. I know the week does not pay well for what it costs to go down there. You're not there for the money. But sure enough, maybe it was just a case of 2020 guys sat on the sidelines too much. They got an itch. They need to race. So that's good to hear. And with super late model racing, offering 25 entries for New Smyrna so far as of January 25th, all this. One super late model team will not be at Speed Weeks, Kyle Busch Motorsports. Kyle revealed that he has actually shut down the super late model portion of his team. He will continue to field 3 NASCAR National Series truck entries. Good for him, but he's run out of hours in the day to run the super late model team. He's got Cup commitments, Gibbs Racing commitments. Have you seen his new Rowdy Energy drink? Yeah, it's a drink. It's an energy drink like Red Bull or Monster. Rowdy Energy. That his nickname is out there. So what he did is he gave up, at least the super late model portion. They've won the Snowball Derby, the Winchester 400, the Oxford 250, Nashville, the All-American 400, the Redbud 300. It's been a formidable team. As Kyle's father told me once, no excuses racing. They know they've got the best of everything. They got the best driver, best equipment, best guys. They should be winning, and they have from all over the place. But he's run out of hours in the day with all those commitments as a Cup guy, company, businessman, family man, running the race team that he is, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's out of hours in the day, which is too bad because that car and that team added a lot of marquee value to the short track races that they did enter. That was a hauler you looked for in the pit area, and when that was there, you knew the level of that race was just elevated one notch further. Whether Kyle was behind the wheel or not, that was a great car that you knew had a chance to win. That was another car that could win, not just looking for a car that could make the field or might be competitive or could give the guys a run for the money. That was a car that could win. So that's kind of a bummer that you won't see that all the time. Even when Kyle was not available to drive, there was usually a pretty good short track ace behind the wheel of that thing. So we're not going to see Kyle and his super late model team. However, he does leave the door open in the future for him to restart it. But right now, no super late model team for Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's kind of a bummer. But I will tip my hat to Dave Despain and MotorWeek Illustrated, what all of this is modeled after. I cannot forget my 5:35 p.m.s on Saturday afternoons on WTBS. Bob Varsha was at the reins sometimes. It was Dave Despain's baby. But they had their Racer of the Week, and it was just that guy that stood out above the rest. And my focus has always been on the word racer. And what I saw this week, there's no choice. Easy discussion. I didn't have to think about it too hard at all. Kyle Larson is a Speedway Report Racer of the Week for the performance he did in that super late model down in Florida on the dirt. Just whatever he is, he hops through the window, straps in, holds the steering wheel, and he's a threat to win. Throwback to me, Tony Stewart in my generation, a Parnelli Jones or an AJ Foyt in years before, even a Mario Andretti. So many guys, you would see them in Formula One, in sports cars, giving IndyCar a shot, and then some stock car racing. Kyle Larson, one of the few guys left, if at all, in this generation that can do that, hop in anything and win. Write it down for Speed Weeks in the early part of the Cup season. I'm telling you, Kyle Larson will go on a tear in that 5-car, just the way it's going to be. In between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of racing with SpeedwayReport.com. We've got all these shows archived there. If you want a podcast for a road trip, especially if you're heading down to Florida Speed Weeks, go to SpeedwayReport.com. Social media. On Facebook, we're at Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. On the Racers Reunion Facebook page. On Twitter, at Speedway Pat and at Speedway Report, and at racersreunion.com in the forum. Don't forget our LinkedIn YouTube channel. I post on LinkedIn, but yeah, this is the YouTube channel which we are on every week. Thanks for my Facebook Live friends, Ruth Ann, Bill, and Jan. Good to see you guys out there. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You've been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and you can follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. Now, if you're on Facebook Live right now, January 25th at 7:51 p.m. Eastern Time, you've got 9 minutes until Drag Racing List starts on Facebook. Head on over there to that page as soon as we're done, Drag Racing List, and Bill Pratt and John Bachman will take you through the next hour. Now, I'll be back live here on Facebook. It will be February 1st. We will talk about the Rolex 24 at Daytona, Lucas Oil late models at East Bay, and the beginning of Florida Short Track Speedways. Thank you all for watching. You take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see everybody next week.